Find the pulse of the road and the future of flight. From viral trends to policy shifts, we cut through the traffic to bring you the stories that drive us. Your fast-track guide to everything on the move starts now. From the Billionada News Channel studio to Mellow 947 BFM, your playlist made better. I'm Paolo del Rosario. This is Shift Happens. Now to the headlines. Philippine air travel is back on the rise, with both domestic and international passenger traffic surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Philippine car sales start the year on a softer note, but electrified vehicles continue to show strong growth. And later, Ken Lim from the Philippine Travel Agencies Association will join us to discuss air travel and issues it is facing right now. The Philippine aviation industry officially clears its 5-year pandemic slump, with 2025 domestic passenger traffic finally surpassing pre-crisis levels. Based on the annual report of the Civil Aeronautics Board, domestic travel hit 33.24 million passengers, while international traffic climbed to 29.1 million. The market remains a clash of titans between the two leading carriers. Cebu Pacific dominated the domestic skies with 16.2 million passengers, while Philippine Airlines narrowly held its crown in the international sector with 6.51 million travelers. This recovery signals a full return to form for local travel, driven by a surge in budget domestic flying and a steady rebound in global connectivity. NAIA is undergoing a massive terminal reshuffle to solve its chronic congestion, with June 2026 set as a major milestone. Under the new plan, Terminal 3 is transitioning into a dedicated international hub for full-service carriers like Japan Airlines and Air China, while Terminal 1 will become the new home for Air Asia's international flights. Domestically, a brand new Terminal 4 is being built to house Air Asia and half of Cebu Pacific's local operations, while the remaining domestic flights will share Terminal 2. Ultimately, this musical chair strategy aims to optimize the airport's layout and provide breathing room for the millions of passengers returning to the skies. Clark International Airport has been named one of only 6 airports globally to win the 2025 Best Airports at Arrivals Award by Airports Council International World. Based on real-time surveys from over 700,000 passengers, the honor places the Philippines on a world-class level alongside hubs in Bahrain and India. Managed by the Lipad Consortium, the award validates that the fusion of local investment and Changi's expertise has successfully turned Clark into a premier high-efficiency gateway that outperforms much larger global competitors. The LRT-1 Cavite extension is facing a split timeline. While the final segment to Bacoor has achieved 100% land acquisition, the middle segment in Las Piñas is stalled by infrastructure bottlenecks. According to the Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, local flyover complications have limited right-of-way acquisitions to under 70%, pushing the expected completion of land delivery to late 2026 or early 2027. Once these final hurdles are cleared, LRTA says the extension is projected to add 80,000 daily passengers, fully connecting the capital to Cavite and completing a vital transit link that began its first phase of operations in late 2024. Transportation Secretary Banoy Lopez inspects the ongoing construction of the EDSA Busway Kamuning Station. This is part of PBBM's directive to experience a daily commute firsthand. To ensure the station is inclusive and passenger-ready, the DOTR says it will feature elevators and man lifts specifically for senior citizens, pregnant women, and PWDs. Secretary Lopez orders the construction to be fast-tracked, with the station expected to be fully operational by next month. The MMDA is breathing new life into its 136 hotline, promising a 5-minute response time for road emergencies on major Metro Manila thoroughfares. Under the leadership of General Manager Nicolas Torre, the upgraded system aims to clear traffic obstructions within 10 minutes by digitizing the accident reporting process. Metro-based operators will now extract CCTV footage of collisions in real time and send clips directly to motorists via social media. By providing instant video evidence for insurance claims and liability, the MMDA hopes to end the prolonged roadside negotiations that typically paralyze Manila traffic. Coming right up, the latest on travel and tourism as Kem Lim from the Philippine Travel Agencies Association joins us after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Song that challenges you the most.
Yeah, on the spot.
Oh, yes.
Nothing's gonna change my love for you. You won't know by now.
Welcome back. This is Shift Happens. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Now, they say every great journey is better with a reliable crew. Now, this program is not built for a solo drive. We are joined by different people who will help keep us mobile and a whole convoy of experts who will help us navigate the world of mobility is coming right up. And we're back in gear. Joining us next is Philippine Travel Agencies Association Assistant Public Relations Officer Kem Lim, who will share with us the insights on travel and tourism in the country. Kem, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know what? It's great to have you here. We wanted you here instead of our friend Chal Lontok del Rosario because masyado siyang makulit eh. And honestly,
Okay.
I don't like her vibe. All right. So we're going to focus on this first, Kem.
Okay.
Thanks so much for having us. Earlier, we reported that there's now a surge in terms of domestic travelers, international travelers coming in. We have now surpassed pre-pandemic levels when it comes to air travel. When it comes to the tourism industry, do we feel that already? Do we feel that growth in this industry that we have already surpassed pre-pandemic levels?
Definitely. I think since 2023 pa lang, the travel surge has been really crazy, astronomical compared to pre-pandemic levels.
Mm-hmm. So it has been growing in different ways, domestically speaking. We're going to talk about that first. Local travel, Filipinos tend to venture in and around the country. It feels like to a larger degree now, especially with the budget carriers. What locations in particular are seeing this uptick? Obviously, we have the usual suspects like Boracay, maybe Siargao, but what else has been driving the growth?
Domestic, I think Bohol is also one of the big drivers. But what you mentioned, Siargao, is actually one of the bigger markets also for domestic travel.
Mm-hmm. And it feels like if you go to Siargao in general, there's also a huge foreign contingent there. We're going to talk about that later on, 100%. When we take a look at the tourism numbers, in the ASEAN region, the Philippines still lags behind in terms of tourism. I believe we're number 7 when it comes to the number of tourists coming to the country in terms of inbound international travel. Now, that's interesting considering in terms of contributions to GDP, tourism actually is one of the biggest drivers here in the country in comparison to Thailand, to Indonesia, and all those other countries. Why is it, in your opinion, that medyo nahihirapan tayo with those numbers bringing in more international tourists?
I think we have to consider also the geographic location of the Philippines.
Yeah.
If you look at it, we're really secluded from the rest of Southeast Asia or Asia in general. So there's a big body of water in the middle separating us. So when we look at the numbers of like Thailand, Vietnam, you have to consider also the land, what do you call that? The land jumps from one country to another, which is very easy to do for them. Like Singapore to Malaysia, Thailand to Vietnam. It's easier as compared to us, where if you have to go to the Philippines, you have to be very deliberate about it to fly in.
Yeah.
So I think that really is a big issue as well, why it's harder for us to attract the numbers that our neighbors are enjoying.
You know, you make a good point. If I'm not mistaken, there is a particular drive from Vietnam to numerous other countries
Correct, yeah.
that you can take that is actually a big tourist draw. But domestically speaking here, apart from, well, at least the mga kapwa natin Filipino, one of the biggest complaints that they do have when it comes to traveling here in the country is that mas mahal pumuntang Siargao or Boracay when compared to, let's say, Taiwan or maybe even other countries in general. When you hear that type of discussion, and I'm sure you've talked about it ad nauseum already.
Yeah,
What
a
are
lot
the
of
key
times.
drivers with the price locally? Why is it so expensive to travel locally?
So we have always said as well that it's not really all the destinations that are expensive. There are a few cities in the Philippines that are expensive, and it has been the ones that are being highlighted in the news. So it's usually Batanes or Siargao. But if you look at the bigger airports or cities which can carry the bigger airplanes as well, like Cebu, Davao, Boracay even, you'd see that it's not really that expensive. So I think whenever we discuss the issue of why is it expensive in the Philippines, we have to consider the whole context of it. I don't think it's really that expensive. It's just that there are a few islands that have been highlighted so much.
So we talk about Batanes, Siargao in particular. Siargao has made the news numerous times already, especially with celebrities or personalities, bemoaning the prices compared to, like, let's say, going to Japan or wherever else. When we take a look at places like Siargao, what would it take to actually lower prices for domestic travel?
So Siargao has gained a lot of popularity among the foreigners talaga. So, but the issue is the runways are not as capable to accept the really large commercial planes.
Yeah.
So as of the moment, it still accepts the turboprops. So ibig sabihin, we cannot cram in a lot of passenger in one flight.
Yeah.
So that affects the price for sure. Because of course because the demand is so high and the supply is so low, then the price would generally go high.
Yeah. So when we look at the particular, using Siargao as an example, and maybe even to another extent of Batanes, is it really down to the airport infrastructure when it comes to all of this?
I would say one major factor is the airport infrastructure. Secondly would be also the competition maybe. I think it goes back to the airport pa rin. Because if you have a large airport which can receive more bigger aircrafts, then maybe there are more airlines that can fly there as well. And with competition, the price would go down.
Yeah. So apart from domestic travel, there's a lot of buzz or a lot of talk happening about the abolition of the travel tax.
Yeah.
Now, people are saying that this, it does only impact those leaving the country, international travel in general. But when we look at what it actually funds, it funds TIEZA, it funds culture, it funds CHED to a certain degree. And people are saying that maybe we should find ways to reallocate funds, or maybe Congress should fund these particular departments. Does abolishing travel tax actually make traveling cheaper in general? Or would it be something that kung na-abolish it doesn't necessarily mean that the cost of traveling will be lower?
It will be lowered for sure, because the travel tax is really a fixed price that every Filipino pays whenever they leave the country.
Yeah.
So removing the travel tax would definitely lower the fare, but frankly speaking, I don't think by a large margin.
Yeah.
It's just around 1,600 peso for economy class passengers.
Yeah. So, of course, will there actually be a knockdown effect, though, in terms of, because people are saying that if you take away the travel tax, you encourage more people to travel, and if we're going deep into economics here, right? That if there was going to be a domino effect, that there will be more expenditure and other expenses because people are now going to be traveling in general. Would that actually have a domino effect on the actual fare eventually?
There will be an effect because still, it's still an amount saved.
Yeah.
So with every saving, you can spend it on other things that can spur the economy. So yes, it will have an effect. On how big it is, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So
how big an effect it will have.
We're going to take a look here at the fact that, you do work with a lot of travel agencies,
Yes.
obviously, being part of the Travel Agencies Association. And when you take a look at the work that you actually do, a lot of people are excited for yung mga promos and yung mga ways to save money on travel. When you take a look at how the travel agencies actually are able to manage these promos, kasi talagang dumadami mga tao, how does it work out from your point of view, from the travel agency's point of view, from an economic aspect, from marketing aspect, to actually encourage more travel and, of course, to make money from a business sense as well, using these promos?
Using the promos, I think there are seasons or like Grand Travel Tour Expo season where the airlines really drive the prices down with promos. And during those times, we see a big uptick in booking. So since all the people have a parang collective mindset that, okay, it's the time to buy, it's also it becomes easier for us to push travel to our clients as well.
Di naman nalulugi yung mga travel agencies during these times.
Yeah, of course, it's also our suppliers who also give us the good rates.
Yeah.
So then we just extend that to our clients too.
When we look at first-time travelers, those traveling with the family for the first time, normally may mga solo travelers, different ways to go about it. They go to travel agencies for a sense of security, for a sense of, okay, lahat polido, lahat everything's okay. What advice do you normally give those who are planning to travel with their families for the first time, especially when they go work with travel agencies?
I think the advantage we have as travel companies would be if you're traveling with a multi-generational family,
Yeah.
my lola, my toddler, then it makes sense to travel with a travel company because then you can customize the whole itinerary. You don't have to think about doing the public transportation. All the surprises would be minimized.
Yeah.
Of course, that's part of the travel experience, but at least if you're traveling with so many different varying age groups and needs, you have someone that you can talk to.
Yeah, it's just funny because there are some people who insist to do it DIY and then running into whatever siguro mga incidents that they did not expect when you get to a certain destination. When you look at the prospect of tourism here, we always talk about air travel a lot, but has sea travel also become a viable way to promote tourism as well? I know cruises aren't as popular here in the Philippines as maybe in Japan or wherever else, but is that starting to be a viable way to experience the country as well?
Yeah. Actually, in the past few years, cruise lines have docked in Manila, and the sea travel has been an emerging market talaga for Filipino travelers as well. So yes, while most of the cruise liners would require us to fly to like Hong Kong, Shanghai, or Singapore to enjoy it, actually there are a lot of new cruise ships that are docking in Manila. And because of that, since we save on airfare, we don't have to pay for the airfare. It's actually a new type of travel that Filipinos are starting to learn and love as well.
Is there an uptick in that, considering that you did mention that there are a few more coming in, but in terms of Filipinos actually taking part in cruises? I know for a very good fact that the very director of the show loves cruises and would love to try and experience more of that and maybe go around this particular region. Are we seeing more and more of that here?
Yeah. The inquiries that we're receiving are also kind of shifting also towards cruises. I think the Filipino traveler trends really change year after year. You're right, Paolo. I think cruises are really emerging as a new type of travel.
When you mentioned that the trends change year after year. I know early part of 2026, you're probably seeing the certain trends already. What are we seeing here so far in the country, both domestically and in terms of international travelers coming in, that we are starting to take advantage of, or maybe an opportunity for both local tourism boards or even national tourism boards to try and take advantage of here this 2026?
Trends, no? Frankly speaking, I'm not so familiar with the domestic trends.
Yeah.
But international trends, I see a lot of uptick in inquiries to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan.
Really?
For some reason, that's the trend that I'm seeing for this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like local travelers, Filipinos going to Uzbekistan and
so Central Asia in general.
Yeah. Well, that is a bit of a surprise. I mean, when me personally, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have guessed that in general. Local travel, I know you said you're not too familiar with this, but then with the continued dialogue here on local prices being an issue for travel, again, I hate to bring up Siargao over and over again, but it has come up so many times here. You mentioned that one of the key drivers is the fact that the airport's too small and that has to be addressed. But then some people are also talking about accommodation. Some people are also talking about the cost when you're actually there. Boracay also has growing rates in terms of hospitality. There are some areas that are a bit cheaper than others. That is true. But at the same time, some people are still worried about the cost of certain things.
Accommodation,
yes,
food.
Accommodation, the food. Is there a way to drive that down as well? Or is it just something that it's going to be there because it's a tourist hotspot and that's just going to be the reality of the situation?
At the end of the day, those are individual business decisions of the hotels or the restaurants. So maybe there are, I think I've seen some countries where they've implemented maybe incentives for the hoteliers or the restaurants to kind of drive the prices down. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a business decision. If the demand, if the tourist arrivals are so high and then the restaurant's always full, the rooms are always full, I think it still boils down to the business decision of the hotel owner to keep the prices high because then they can earn more.
So it's not necessarily policy dictated. It really is individual decisions.
It's individual decisions, but I think incentives or some sort of like program from the government can help maybe to lower it.
We are seeing, as we mentioned a while ago, and we reported that there's an increase, a sharp increase in terms of domestic and international travelers. So when you take a look at the trends that we are seeing so far, and it comes to the appetite of travel in and around the country, and of course a growing tourism infrastructure, some people say we're still lacking in that, and there are a lot of great arguments for it. Do you feel that this trend will continue in terms of the economics involved, in terms of the volume of people traveling, and of course the money spent? Because we are also seeing an increase of foreign travelers staying longer in the Philippines as well. So do you feel that that trend will continue to rise as time goes by, and another challenge here for the tourism industry to be able to keep that growth going?
Yeah, you mentioned about the infrastructure. I think it's true that we really have to, there's still room for improvement for the infrastructure in the Philippines. We're an archipelago of 7,000 islands.
Yeah.
So even inter-country travel poses a challenge, because if you're flying from Manila to another place, you really have to fly. So I've heard about discussions on maybe if we can improve the seaports, maybe we can improve the rail lines, then that could also help in making the country a lot more affordable for our tourists.
Yeah. When we look at the accessibility from island to island, you mentioned that it is one of the biggest hurdles for the Philippines, that to get to one province, you have to fly.
Correct,
I mean,
yes.
Generally speaking, right? I mean, like if you're coming from Manila, you want to go to Cebu,
You have
or
to
if
fly.
like, you want to go to Boracay, Bacolod, or wherever, air travel is a must. Is that the only solution, at least from a practical standpoint, that if air travel becomes cheaper, that's the only way travel in general for Filipinos will become cheaper?
So if there will be alternatives to flights, alternative infrastructure that would allow us to travel to the different islands that doesn't require us to fly, that would make travel in general cheaper, not just the air costs.
Yeah.
Because if there are alternatives to going there, like for example in China, the rail is now considered a better travel mode compared to flying. So if there are other infrastructure developments in the Philippines, it will definitely help in making the country a lot more.
Cam, what excites you the most about this industry in the next few years?
Filipinos just love traveling. And then it's very exciting when I see our clients be so happy whenever they return, and then they tell about the stories, what they ate, what they saw, who they met. Those are things that still push us to really be better with what we do.
If there is a place that you feel is not visited enough but people should go to, I mean, kung may hidden gem ka, ilabas mo na.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Locally. Locally speaking. Well, okay, fine. Let's go to New Zealand. But still, locally.
Sabi so international kasi ako. New Zealand is my favorite kasi talaga. Locally. I haven't been to Batanes, but I really want to go to Batanes.
Okay.
Because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
I love
Yeah.
Batanes. It's sort of like New Zealand in some ways.
Yeah, kaya New Zealand din yung answer.
Yeah. Especially the Marlborough area. I mean, like it's a fantastic place, and I encourage more people to go there. But then again, cost is still an issue for some people there. And of course, we can talk all about Batanes as well. Smaller airport, prop planes only, weather being an issue. But that's another discussion for another time. Cam, we really appreciate you coming on. And when we talk about travel, we can talk about it so much more.
Correct, yeah.
For those who want to actually go and check out some of the accredited tourism agencies that you work with, travel agencies that you work with, where can they find that list and where can they reach you guys?
So I'm with the Philippine Travel Agencies Association. So we're an organization of travel agents in the Philippines, both outbound, so Filipinos going out, and even inbound players, the ones that are taking in foreigners coming in. We verify and we vie for the legitimacy of our members. So I think if you are looking for a travel agent, do go to our website. I think it's ptaa.org.ph. PH. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
We'll just confirm that.
We're going to double check that and put it on the bottom of the screen and make sure everyone knows about it.
But maybe you can go there,
Yes, for sure. We really appreciate you. And again, shout out to our friend Chal, who we're happy is not here at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Kem Lim, who is the Assistant Public Relations Officer of the Philippine Travel Agencies Association. Thank you so much. Now, next up, we'll get the latest in the auto industry. This is Shift Happens. We'll be right back.
Surround yourself with the beauty and fragrance of flowers in this festive Baguio experience. Celebrate the Panagbenga Festival. Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back to Shift Happens. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Now, let's zoom in from transport system to the driver's seat. This is Torque Talk, your weekly update on the auto industry. The Philippine automotive industry started the year on a softer note, the vehicle sales declining in January after a flat 2025. Still, one segment continues to show strength: electrified vehicles. BNC Mobility's G. Baroga breaks down the numbers.
The Philippine auto industry is off to a slow start this year, after wrapping up 2025 with flat growth. Based on data from the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines, or CAMPI, the Truck Manufacturers Association, or TMA, and other industry sources, more than 35,000 vehicles were sold in January. CAMPI and TMA members accounted for close to 33,700 units, about 10% lower than the same month last year. All vehicle categories saw lower sales, including main segments, passenger cars and commercial vehicles, which are down 20% and 8% respectively. Light-duty trucks and buses segment is the only bright spot, posting a 22% increase. CAMPI President Jose Maria Atienza says a softer January is nothing unusual, as buyers typically rush to purchase vehicle before the year ends. Still, he says the industry remains on track to reach its target of more than 500,000 units this year, with sales holding a steady pace after factoring in seasonal trends. One area continuing to show momentum is electrified vehicles. CAMPI and TMA members sold more than 2,600 electrified vehicles in January, up 63% from a year ago. Hybrids make up the bulk of sales with more than 2,000 units, while plug-in hybrids and fully electric vehicles were nearly even at 277 and 261 units. Together, electrified vehicles now account for about 8% of the market. Toyota of the Billionario T family continues to dominate the industry, holding a 49% market share, followed by Mitsubishi, Suzuki, Nissan, and Ford.
After a challenging 2025, the auto industry is looking ahead to a better 2026 as new models arrive and interest in electrified vehicles continues to grow. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
Now the Philippines is making a high-stakes play for a central role in the global green economy. Trade Secretary Cristina Roque confirms that the country is in talks with a major foreign electric vehicle manufacturer to establish a manufacturing plant locally within the year.
There's a big one here. I mean, okay, it's still in talks, but it's in talks that's really progressing. I can't say the brand. He said it's still confidential, but definitely yes, we are parts of the EV manufacturers.
This substantial investment is being positioned not just as a business deal, but as a game changer. Beyond the factory walls, it's expected to create thousands of jobs and future-proof the local economy through high-value manufacturing. The vision for a local EV hub was first floated by Finance Secretary Frederick Go on October 2025 when he was still serving as the economic czar. It's a move that signals to the world that the Philippines is ready to transition from a consumer of green tech to a leading regional producer. Even public transportation is making the shift. Davao City is charging ahead in its green transition with 19 new electric vehicle taxis, a collaboration between the LTFRB and the Region 11 Taxi Operators Association. During the launch, local operators also received their formal orders to begin service. Aligned with national sustainability goals, this move aims to elevate the riding experience for Davaoeños by replacing traditional engines with smoother, quieter, and zero-emission alternatives. Coming right up, we're hitting the road with some must-know driving tips. Stay tuned because these could make your next drive safer and smoother.
Pinky Web. On point. 7:30 p.m. on BNC, the Billionario News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Shift Happens. Now, it is time to talk about something every driver needs to master: staying safe and smart on the road. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. A red light is not a phone break. So scrolling through social media, checking maps, or texting while stopped is still distracted driving. Now, your full attention belongs on the road at all times. Even a 3-second distraction is enough to miss a pedestrian crossing or a sudden stop ahead. So, to everyone guilty out there, hands up muna. And aminin natin, you have to put that phone down. Focus on the drive and be a responsible driver. Now, that is true for whatever vehicle you are on. So let's try and be safe together on the road. All right, so that will do it here for us on Shift Happens. That concludes our roundup of the stories driving the industry forward. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Join us again tomorrow on Shift Happens, your fast track guide to everything on the move.